can you give us an update on squad injuries? We saw Chris Commons wandering in with a cast on his foot. What's the latest with him first?
He's not out the squad yet. What will happen with Chris is he's going to come back tomorrow. There's a huge improvement from yesterday to today, and Chris has shown a keenness to come back tomorrow. Obviously he's wearing a boot for protection and it stabilises it. He'll try getting a boot and things like that on later on today. So he's coming back tomorrow to be reassessed. But Kev McNaughton and Don Cowie's been brought into the squad, obviously, for Alan Hutton and Stephen Whittaker.
You're quite happy with the squad? I mean, if Chris wasn't able to play, you wouldn't consider calling anyone else up then?
At this moment in time, no, Craig hasn't discussed anything like that, you know, so happy with the squad, and boys are happy to be here as well.
Are you pleased to see Kenny Miller and David Goodwillie both scoring at the weekend on their new for the new
Yeah, and by all accounts, we had Mark McGee watching Craig McHale-Smith as well at Brighton, who had a fantastic performance down there. He was on the phone to Craig and saying it was outstanding, you know, so big bonus is the fact that Kenny's moved to his new club, scores in his debut. David's the exact same, and Craig McHale-Smith seemingly was the man of the match down there as well, you know, so it's a nice problem for Craig to have, is that all three strikers playing well.
With regards to the Danes, how do they shape up as a kind of match for the Czech Republic? Because
Well,
this is clearly a preparation.
Yeah, they play a 4-2-3-1. They've got a young lad from Ajax who plays off the front, Eriksson, who's a very, very good player, young, talented player. And, you know, the Arsenal Bentner, who plays centre striker. And Romedal, who's got a new lease of life as well, plays wide and the right. You know, so there's loads in the Denmark team to give us problems. But what I would rather concentrate on, what we've got, you know, we've got to look positive, make sure we've got a team on the park who'll be hungry, pass the ball. We've spoke about it for a while now, that we can keep the ball and move it. And we'll be looking to create chances against the Danes. And again, it's all in preparation for the next couple of months.
How important is a victory in this game over, perhaps?
It's nice. It'd be nice to win. You know, you go out every game to try and win matches, and this will be no different. You know, but again, players are early into the season. We have to remember that. You know, we're talking about players who played their first game on Saturday, first serious game. So you've got to take that into consideration. But what I think you will get is a Scotland team out there trying their very, very best to win. Yeah, from Scott Severn's point of view, obviously from a football club, I've on the phone to the medical people, and Scott had an operation yesterday, and both metal plates inside and outside down the fibia tibia. It's quite low in the ankle as well, you know. So 3 breaks there. Huge blow for Scott. You know, at 32 years of age, I've known him since I was 17. You know, I had him as a coach at Hearts all the years ago, and a tremendous professional, and that's why I brought him to Dundee United. You know, so. But what he'll get is he'll get a lot of help from us at Dundee United to see how he is over the next couple of months in rehabbing. And as I say, hopefully he can come back and be stronger. But this is something we'll have to have a look at later on.
Going back to your squad here, you have 5 players out of 24, only 5 playing in the Scottish Premier League. What does that tell you? What do you make of that?
It tells me that some of the guys who are playing the SPL have been good enough to go down south and play, you know, in the fabulous leagues, you know. So, as I say, that's something that's irrelevant as far as I'm concerned, because they're all good players.
Could it not impact on the quality of football we're seeing up here in Scotland?
I'm not really here to talk about the quality of football that's up here. I think the quality of football is excellent. I've worked in the Championship. If I'm saying about the Championship, I think we play more football in the SPL. However, they can pay more money down there, and you can't deny your players to try and earn more money down there. But if you tell me that the Championship play more football than the SPL does, I would disagree with that. But in saying that, I'm here to talk about the Scotland squad and what we've got on Wednesday night. I don't really want to get involved in talking about the SPL and players earning their money down there or earning their rights to play down there. Good luck to them if they go down there and they're earning lots of money. But certainly I don't think it detracts from the fact that we've got a good SPL.
That's not really my point, but the point I'm making is that, you know, are these players, you know, by definition better because they've been attracted down south?
Better than what?
You know, becoming better players.
No, they're not becoming better players, they're becoming more rich, as far as I'm concerned, you know, because if they're getting the same money up here, they maybe not want to go to teams who are in the Championship, for instance, rather than leaving clubs that are in Scotland, you know. So, as I say, we've got a standard of football in the SPL which I think is very, very high. I think there's a lot of good football. If you watched our game against St Mirren on Saturday, you wouldn't enjoy a game more. If you've seen our game, a 0-0 draw against Kilmarnock, the first game of the season, there was loads of football, loads of attacking, loads of moves. So we're getting good entertainment value, and our fans are certainly delighted with it. If they've seen a game against Hearts as well. So the standard of SPL football, in my opinion, we're getting a lot of good quality games, and so be it if some other team wants to pay big money and the players can go to other teams down south and earn maybe 4 or 5 times what they're earning up here, you can't fault them for that.
We started last season with a Scandinavian friendly that was a sore one for us. What are the most significant areas of progress you've seen in the year that's passed?
I think we've got a group together. We've got a group together now who are now bonding, who have bought into the ethic of what Craig wants. It's about everybody passing the ball well and working ever so hard. So I think over the years since that poor performance, I think there's been a lot of bonding together. We've spoken about La Manga in the past here as well, with the fact that it got players knowing each other, got them knowing the coaching staff as well. So I think that was very, very important to do that. And what I see is more and more confidence becoming within the group, because there's not an awful lot of changes. There's some young players who's come into the group, but certainly to be in this group, I think there's players who want to try and get into that group simply because there's a hard work ethic. There's also a chance to play football as well. And all the guys that we've got are comfortable on the ball. And that's what I said the last couple of times I've been here at press conferences with the Scotland squad, is the fact that we're now getting players with decent quality playing at a high standard and a high level as well.
Does that change, sorry, I was just going to say, does that therefore change the imperative of the friendly? Or last year you're looking for new faces, now you know who you've got, not much more to feed in. Are we looking now at the shape we're going to see in this final run-in?
Yes, possibly. I think we're looking towards better performances. For instance, when you look at the situation in Sweden, with the amount of call-offs we had prior to that game, and there's some young players, and include my own young player Gary Kenneth at the time, who weren't ready probably for international football. But over the past year, we've had more or less the nucleus of the group that's going to take us forward, hopefully in the next 2 games, the big games that's coming up in September against the Czech Republic and Lithuania. And I think if we can keep that group together, they've built over the last year or so, with 1 or 2 coming in, and they've played some decent performances. When I look at the Carling Cup over in Ireland, we actually played really well in the matches. I felt we were really unfortunate to lose to the Republic because we had plenty of chances. So although we lost that game, I still seen the confidence they want to play and still want to take the game to the opposition. And that's what we'll need to do, certainly, when it comes to the big matches in the next couple of matches after the Denmark game.
Does it excite you to see when you look through the squad list and see the amount of young talent that's there? That's
another thing you look at. You see some young players. I think that's bodes well for the Scottish national team, that they're at a good age. In the past we've had a lot of guys who are maybe getting to the tail end of their career, but there's so much to come from these players as far as I'm concerned, and the more international experience they get, the better for us. But they'll have to stand up to the plate, as we say, over the next few games, and I'm confident enough that they can do that.
Have we seen the future of Scotland in some of these players?
Yeah, I think that, as I say, we can keep them fit and keep them healthy and keep them. We know they've got the desire, we know they've got the want to here. You come in with a smile on their face and they want to be here. It's a friendly match and we're early into the season, so I wouldn't look too much into hopefully the performance is great. But as I say, by the time the 2 important, massively important games come along, I think they'll have more games under the belt. But certainly young players have plenty of legs, and they're quality football players as well. So in my opinion, it's exciting times, and hopefully we can go on and do the business in the big matches.
Peter, do you think that the fact that you've actually only had a couple of withdrawals from this friendly, in general terms, does that tell its own story about the impact that the new regime, Robin, yourself and Craig, have had on playing for Scotland?
You'd like to think that, it's too many times in the past we've always thought players called off easily. These boys don't call off easily. The perfect example was today. Chris Commons turning up with one of these boots on his foot. He took a stud on the instep of his foot. He's turned up today. We're thinking when he comes in with that on, he's ruled out. But he's telling us that he wants to give it till tomorrow, every chance. That tells a lot for a friendly match. It tells us that players, you've got the guys who played for Cardiff yesterday, 3 of them now in the squad. Confidence is high. Fantastic result at West Ham. Probably not a lot of teams will win at West Ham this year, so they're buzzing. So I think that it tells you an awful lot for the fact that they've bought into the way Craig wants to build a unity within the squad, and certainly, as I say, them turning up for a friendly match with a wee niggly injury, it'd be quite easy for Chris to say, well, I'm not ready for this game. He might still not be ready, let's be honest about it. but for him to want to turn up here at Marhall tomorrow, then it speaks volumes for the bonding that I think that Craig's got within the squad, that the players are willing to turn up.
Given that Wednesday is all about preparing us for what really matters next month and in October, do you think it also says a lot about how far Scotland have come, that 9 points from the next 3 qualifiers are now, you know, I imagine most people would consider them to be, you know, it's eminently possible we win the next 3?
Well, I think there's, you know, I certainly think we're capable of it. You know, you look at Spain away, which will be very, very difficult. But first and foremost, I don't want to look too far forward. For me, the Danish game, which is going to be an important game for us to get players game time as well, is about building towards the following month, and the first game is against the Czech Republic. You know, first and foremost, I wouldn't even like to speak about the Lithuania game. I think the big thing is try to get 3 points first and foremost for the Czech Republic game. You know, I don't think there was an awful lot between the sides the last time we played over there. A goal from a set play, which we lost, and we should have defended better. But I also think in the same breath that they'll be dangerous at Hampden. But you know, I think with the crowd behind us, you've seen what the reaction we had to a very, very good performance in the second half, especially against Spain. They were right behind us, and not many teams would, you know, do well under the noise and the cauldron it was that night, and certainly the second half performance for the Scotland team. You know, so we always got there, and we always got something from the game, and it was a huge disappointment we didn't. So as I say, we look forward to first and foremost the Danish game for game practice, and certainly settling into some shape and make sure we're defending set plays, etc. properly. And secondly, the Czech Republic game, where we want to and need to try and get the 3 points.